Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Indian Navy gets indigenous stealth guided missile destroyer INS Imphal. Indian Navy deploys major warships to counter attacks in Arabian Sea. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows to expand Gaza operations in the coming days, says war isn't close to finish. Japan to impose sanctions on 3 senior Hamas members. And in cricket, India to play its first test in 5 months against South Africa at Centurion on Tuesday. Adding more pride to the nation's roots, Indian Navy is all set to commission its latest stealth-guided missile destroyer, Imphal, at Naval Dockyard in the western part of the country, Mumbai. Imphal is a cutting-edge warship designed by Indian Navy's Warship Design Bureau and constructed by Mazagon Dock Limited. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will grace the ceremony. Indian Navy on Monday announced the deployment of guided missile destroyers to maintain a deterrent presence in view of the recent attacks in the Arabian Sea. Guided missile destroyers INS Mormugao, INS Kochi and INS Kolkata have been deployed in various areas to maintain a deterrent presence. Long-range maritime reconnaissance P-8I aircrafts are also being regularly tasked to maintain domain awareness. Western Naval Command's Maritime Operations Center is actively monitoring the situation in close coordination with the Coast Guard and all concerned agencies. India reported a total of 4,170 active cases of COVID, with 412 new cases in the last 24 hours. Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul said last week that the scientific community in India is closely investigating the new subvariant and stressed on the need for states to ramp up testing and strengthen their surveillance systems. In a recent operation in India's Pulwama district of Jammu and Kashmir, security forces have arrested 3 people and seized weapons. Joint interrogation of Indian Army and Jammu and Kashmir Police is still in progress. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the Veer Bal Divas function at Bharat Mandapam in the national capital on Tuesday. The Veer Bal Divas marks the martyrdom of Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji's sons, Sahibzadas Baba Zorawar Singh and Baba Fateh Singh. Prime Minister Modi last year had announced that 26 December will be observed as Veer Bal Divas. With the announcement of 26 December as Veer Bal Divas to commemorate the martyrdom of Guru Gobind Singh Ji's sons, the international Sikh community is enthusiastic and full of praise for the efforts made by the Government of India to highlight the importance of this day nationally and globally.
The Indian government has announced to commemorate the martyrdom of Sahibzades as Veer Bal Divas. The move will help people in knowing about Sikh history. We thank Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who took the initiative to celebrate Veer Bal Divas in India. We thank the Government of India for remembering this day and honouring the Sahibzadas.
The Karnikara Mandapam of Kunamangalam Bhagwati Temple in Kozhikode has been selected for UNESCO's Asia Pacific Award for Cultural Heritage Conservation. The Karnikara Mandapam, that is the semi-open hall, has been reconstructed in recent years without losing its originality, the very reason for it to get the UNESCO recognition. The award is for sustainable development for its transformative heritage practices. The 1,100-year-old temple has been renovated according to Tachu Shastra's judgment without losing its heritage. The support of the Archival and Research Project, an organization working for the preservation of the architectural heritage of Kerala, provided major help. Dr. Abida Puttuseri, member of the Temple Management Committee, talks more about the temple and the renovation work.
Kozhikode Karunur Kundamangalam Sri Bhagavati Kshetram, about 1,000 years old temple. Recently we got a UNESCO award 2023. This award is mainly for the conservation of the tradition and also the sustainable development. Here the award is for our revival of the Karnikara Mandapam. Normally the Karnikara Mandapam is made with 4 pillars, but here it is very rare. It is made with 16 pillars with a wood called Venga, and here we completed this work within 2.5 months.
Now we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. Preparations are in final stage for the inauguration of Ram Temple at Ayodhya in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh ahead of Pran Pratishta Mahotsav, or the Dignity of Life Festival at Ayodhya. Shri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirath Kshetra Trust released photos showing the current status of Shri Ram Janmabhoomi Temple construction work. The grand inauguration is scheduled to take place on 26th of January. With the date of consecration of a much-awaited Ram Mandir approaching close, devotees and artists are exhibiting their devotion and excitement through various ways. Carpenters in Ayodhya have carved out wooden replicas of Ram Temple to show their enthusiasm. In yet another event, in a show of dedication and enthusiasm towards Ram Mandir, a vegetable vendor from the capital city of Uttar Pradesh made a world clock that depicts the time of 9 countries simultaneously. He later dedicated the clock to Ram Mandir Trust. Tourists flock Shimla, the state capital of the Indian hill state of Himachal Pradesh, for Winter Carnival, the city's first ever, running for a week until January 5th, aimed at reviving tourism and boosting the charm of the Queen of the Hills. And now we get to updates from Israel-Hamas conflict. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to continue fighting against terror group Hamas until the end. Netanyahu, accompanied by Deputy Chief of Staff Major General Amir Baram, spoke with soldiers and commanders in northern Gaza on Monday. Interacting with soldiers, Netanyahu said that the war was far from over and dismissed what he cast as media speculation that his government might call a halt to the fighting.
Whoever talks about stopping, there is no such thing. We are not stopping. The war will continue until the end. October 7th is not over. It is not over. We have to make sure that it never happens again. This requires what each and every one of you is asking for, just to continue until the end. Until the end. And I'm just proud of your determination. It's not easy. On the other hand, it is easy, simply to continue to the end. I salute you like this.
Israel's Minister of Defense, Yoav Gallant, held a situation assessment in IDF's Northern Command, where he was briefed on operational activities conducted along the border in order to defend the area. Also thwart Hezbollah operatives and harm the terrorist organization's assets. Minister Gallant expressed his appreciation to the head of the Northern Command and senior officers for their action, and emphasized that these will continue until the residents of northern Israel return to their homes once the security situation changes in the border area. He also said that Israel does not want this to happen. However, Israel, he said, will do what is necessary so the thousands of Israelis evacuated from near the border with Lebanon will be able to return to their homes. The families of Hamas hostages gathered at the main gate of the Israeli Defense Ministry complex in Tel Aviv on Monday, waiting for security cabinet ministers in the hope of stopping their vehicles and pleading with them for help for their loved ones. The protesters laid out hourglasses, inferring that time is running out for each of the hostages still in Hamas captivity. Israeli agency Kogat reported that 218 trucks loaded with humanitarian aid for the people of Gaza were inspected and transferred to the Gaza Strip on Monday. Of these, 142 trucks were inspected at the Nitzana crossing and transferred to Gaza via the Rafah crossing in Egyptian territory. 76 of the trucks were inspected and transferred to Gaza via the recently opened Kerem Shalom crossing, which is located in the corner where the Egyptian, Israeli and Gazan borders meet. Kogat also reported that 80,000 vaccines for measles, mumps and rubella donated by UNICEF arrived in the Gaza Strip on Sunday. Hitting on the terror group Hamas, the Japanese government will freeze assets and impose sanctions on payments and capital transactions on 3 senior Hamas members. According to a Japanese government spokesperson, the 3 individuals were believed to be involved in the October 7th attack by Hamas on Israel and in a position to use funds to finance such terrorist activities. The Israeli army found a car and a pickup truck belonging to one of the hostages taken by Hamas during the October 7th attack at northern Gaza's Indonesian hospital. A white Toyota Corolla was seen parked in a shed near the Indonesian hospital in Gaza, which is claimed to have been used during Hamas attack. The Israeli military say the car belonged to Samir, one of the 3 hostages shot dead mistakenly by Israeli soldiers during combat operations in Gaza. The videos were taken at the Indonesian hospital in northern Gaza, which the Israeli army claims hid infrastructure used by Hamas. Meanwhile, an Israeli airstrike outside the Syrian capital Damascus on Monday killed a senior advisor in Iran's Revolutionary Guards. And according to sources, the advisor, known as Saeed Raza Mousavi, was responsible for coordinating the military alliance between Syria and Iran. Iran's state television interrupted its regular news broadcast to announce that Mousavi had been killed, describing him as one of the Guard's oldest advisors in Syria. It said that he had been among those accompanying Qasem Soleimani, the head of the Guard's elite Quds force, who was killed in a U.S. drone attack in Iraq in 2020. Turkey intensified its airstrikes against Kurdish groups in Syria and northern Iraq in retaliation for the deaths of 12 Turkish soldiers in Iraq over the weekend. The Turkish Defense Ministry said in a statement late on Monday that it had killed at least 26 militants in the strikes. Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces say in northeast Syria, at least 8 civilians were killed in Turkish airstrikes on Monday, including 2 women. Turkey has carried out 128 strikes in northeast Syria in 2023, killing 94 people, according to Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. The U.S. military carried out retaliatory airstrikes on Monday in Iraq after a one-way drone attack earlier in the day by Iran-aligned militants that left 1 U.S. service member in critical condition and wounded 2 other U.S. personnel. The back-and-forth clash was the latest demonstration of how the Israel-Hamas conflict is rippling across the Middle East, creating turmoil that has turned U.S. troops at bases in Iraq and Syria into targets. Iran-aligned groups in Iraq and Syria opposed Israel's campaign in Gaza and hold the United States partly responsible. The White House National Security Council said that Biden was briefed on the attack on Monday and ordered the Pentagon to prepare response options against those responsible. Let's get to updates from Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now, Ukraine carried out an air attack on Feodosia in Crimea, Ukraine's Air Force commander said on Tuesday, after the Russian-installed governor of Crimea said that the assault sparked a fire in the town's port area. Footage posted on several Russian news outlets on Telegram showed powerful explosions and fire over a port area. Both Russia and Ukraine have often exaggerated the losses they claim to have inflicted upon each other in the 22-month-long war, while underestimating their own casualty and equipment losses. There was no immediate official information from Russia on this. Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine in a broadly condemned move in 2014. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu told President Putin that Russian forces have gained full control of Mariinka, a town in eastern Ukraine, one of Russia's most significant gains since the capture of Bakhmut in May. Most accounts of Mariinka, southwest of the Russian-held regional center of Donetsk, describe it as a ghost town. Putin said control of the town, which was once home to 10,000 people, will allow the Russian forces to move enemy combat units away from Donetsk. Russia's last major success on the battlefield was the capture in May of Bakhmut, theatre of some of the bloodiest fighting. Ukraine launched a counter-offensive in June aimed at retaking land in the country's south and east, including Bakhmut. Meanwhile, a text of a draft law posted on the website of Ukraine's parliament late on Monday proposed lowering the age of those who can be mobilized for combat duty to 25 from 27. The draft text detailed which Ukrainian citizens would be subject to enrollment for military registration of the conscripts and said that it would apply to those who have reached the age of 25. The proposed change comes as Ukraine's 22-month-old battle against Russia drags on. On Sunday, Ukraine and Russia exchanged claims over downed military aircraft. And on Monday, Ukraine denied Russia's claims that its forces had seized the regional center Marinka in eastern Ukraine. An explanatory note signed by Defense Minister summarized the key provisions of the draft law, saying they included the change of conscription age from 27 to 25 years. President Zelensky told his end-of-year news conference on December 19th that the military had proposed mobilizing 450,000 to 500,000 more Ukrainians, but that it was a highly sensitive issue that the military and government would discuss before deciding whether to send the proposal to parliament. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. For the first time, a Hindu woman in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa files her nomination papers for a general seat in the upcoming polls in Pakistan. To deregulate the South American country's economy, Argentina Congress to hold special session over economic reforms. December 26, 2004 marks unleashing of devastation along the coastline of 14 nations, including India, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Thailand and Malaysia.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibilities. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live and I'm Preeti. Let's get you more international updates. In Serbia, several thousand people gathered in front of the Central Election Commission building in Belgrade to protest over an election earlier this month that international monitors said was unfair. The protesters marched to the main police station where they believed those detained by police were being held. Police said 38 people had been detained during and after an opposition protest over election results. The opposition parties accused police of excessive force and of policemen beating up men in streets near the town hall. Serbia's ally Russia said foreign-backed forces were trying to foment trouble. Serbia has resisted pressure from Western countries to introduce sanctions against Russia. The Kremlin said that foreign-backed forces were trying to foment unrest in Serbia over parliamentary and local elections. This comes after thousands gathered in the center of Belgrade in an anti-government protest to demand the annulment of elections a week ago that international observers said were unfair.
Besides, there are obvious processes and attempts of third-party forces, including foreign-backed forces, to provoke unrest in Belgrade. That is what we see. We have no doubt authorities of Republic will provide legitimacy in the country.
All right, let's get you updates from Pakistan. Now, in a first, a Hindu woman in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Buner district has filed her nomination papers for a general seat in the upcoming polls in Pakistan. Savira Prakash has officially submitted her nomination papers for the general seat of PK25 in Buner district. General elections are scheduled to be held in Pakistan on 8th February to elect the members of the 16th National Assembly. A member of the Hindu community, Prakash is optimistic about contesting the elections on a Pakistan People's Party ticket, following in the footsteps of her father Om Prakash, a recently retired doctor. Pakistan's Tehreek-e-Insaf party said that it will challenge the Election Commission's decision to declare its intra-party polls as unconstitutional and revoke the iconic cricket bat symbol in the Peshawar High Court. The Election Commission of Pakistan last week rejected the organizational elections of Imran Khan's party and its plea to have a cricket bat as the electoral symbol for the general elections. The Election Commission declared the party ineligible to obtain an election symbol to contest the upcoming general elections on February 8th next year. And also, Argentina will hold an emergency session of parliament beginning Tuesday to address a package of reforms by President Javier Milei. The special session from December 26th through January 31st is being held following a week of protests by labor unions, tenant groups and leftist organizations against the reforms contained in a presidential decree that needs an endorsement by legislators. Milei last week proposed more than 300 measures to deregulate the South American country's economy, including eliminating price controls and bureaucracy to help promote industrial activity. Let's get to some weather updates now. As China's capital Beijing has set a record for hours of sub-zero temperatures in December dating back to 1951. The cold wave caused blizzards and temperatures to reach historic lows, with some areas hitting minus 40 degrees Celsius. Beijing has recorded over 300 hours of below freezing temperatures, the most for the month since 1951. The capital has also experienced 9 consecutive days of temperatures below minus 10 degrees Celsius. Also, there has been widespread flooding and deluge in Thailand's south after heavy rains as more than knee-deep water accumulated everywhere, causing a lot of trouble in the daily activities. Drone footage showed the damage caused by widespread flooding and how people and officials are dealing with them. A whiteout landscape was created in Grenfell, New South Wales, Australia on Christmas Day due to hailstones and heavy rainfall. Weather authorities reported large-sized hailstones over 5 centimeters falling in the same region. A resident reported damage to car windscreens and solar panels on his rooftop. December 26, 2004, a day etched in the collective memory of nations across Eastern and Southeastern Asia, tragedy struck with unparalleled force. The relentless power of nature manifested in the form of a 30-meter-high tsunami, unleashing devastation along the coastlines of 14 nations. On the 19th anniversary of the devastating 2004 tsunami, the fishermen and locals in southern part of India's Tamil Nadu's Cuddalore district came together to pay heartfelt tributes to those who lost their lives in the catastrophe. This solemn occasion served as a reminder of the immense tragedy that struck their community and the resilience they have shown in the face of such adversity. And now we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world. In the U.S., Nebraska residents experienced a white Christmas after a winter storm brought freezing rain and snow, causing blizzard conditions from central South Dakota into the state. The National Weather Service expects wind gusts of 35 miles per hour and additional snowfall of up to an inch, warning residents that snow could reduce visibility and cause road whiteouts. London's top architects are constructing the futurist gingerbread city at the annual 2023 Gingerbread City competition. Over 50 architects, designers and engineers will use cooking ingredients to create a tiny city, focusing on water and its use. The event runs from December 2nd to January 7th next year. 24 German swimmers known as the Berlin Seals enjoyed their traditional Christmas Day dip in a chilly Berlin lake. The group, founded in 1980 with It was founded in 1980. With temperatures over 10 degrees Celsius, swimmers were able to walk straight into the water without removing ice chunks.
Okay, foot's down and we're away. Bang, away they go. Law Connect got the start up here.
And to Comanche and Law Connect faced challenges during the 78th Sydney to Hobart yacht race, with Comanche protesting after a senior collision with Scallywag. Law Connect struggled with unfurling a sail but managed to pass through the leading pack. The race began under sunny skies, but stormy conditions are expected in the coastal waters of Australia. Let's get you sports updates now. India will play their first test in 5 months against South Africa at Centurion on Tuesday. Virat Kohli is back in the Indian squad, but lack of practice could be a concern for the team. Here's a preview of the match.
Team India is all set to face Team South Africa in 2-match test series that will take place in Centurion. The first test will be played on the Boxing Day, and in much relief for Team India, Virat Kohli is back in the squad. With sharp focus on 2025 WTC final, Team India is mentally moving away from the World Cup heartbreak and practicing hard to beat South Africa in their home ground. However, the head-to-head tells a different story between the two. In tests, South Africa leads the overall head-to-head record against India with 17 wins and 15 defeats in 42 matches. South Africa also recorded a 2-1 series win when both teams last clashed against each other 2 years ago. Whereas at home, South Africa have a stunning record against the Indian team with 12 wins in 23 test matches and have suffered only 4 defeats so far. India's last test win in South Africa came in during the Boxing Day clash in 2021 under Virat Kohli's captaincy. However, when we talk about Team South Africa's current form, then this South African side lack experience and quality with bat and ball, and their top 6 in particular can be brittle. They can also face late fitness tests for key fast bowlers Kagiso Rabada and Lungi Ngidi, who could be handful on what is expected to be a lively Centurion Park pitch in the first test. The man to be in the spotlight is outgoing batter Dean Elgar, who will be playing the last 2 tests of his career. He is one of only 3 South African batters with an average of more than 30. With Team India coming on the test field to play their first red ball game in 5 months, Rohit Sharma-led team will have a new challenge in front of themselves.
All right, that's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.